Welcome back to Locked On Women's Basketball. You are listening to episode 13 of our WNBA Retrospect series, a historical look back at the greatest prospects in league history. Today we'll discuss Nneka Ogwumike, one of the WNBA's top forwards of the 2010s. Locked On Women's Basketball starts now.
Ogwumike for the win.
You are Locked On Women's Basketball, your daily podcast on women's basketball.
Welcome. You are Locked On Women's Basketball. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. My name is Hunter Cruse. I'm your Saturday host covering the WNBA draft and prospect scouting. I'm joined by my co-host Lincoln Shafer. Lincoln covers the WNBA from a biomechanics standpoint. You can follow him on Twitter at @Dovienya_. As I said, our conversation subject today is Stanford's Nneka Ogwumike. Nneka led Stanford to 4 straight Final Four appearances, posting averages of 17.2 points and 8.5 rebounds in her collegiate career. The 6'2" forward was selected by the Los Angeles Sparks in the 2012 draft to build a star-studded duo alongside Candace Parker. The pitch for Nneka as a prospect revolves around her positional value as a forward and her projectability with her skill set. So for you, Lincoln, where do you fall in her scout from what you saw at Stanford?
Yeah, Nneka's such a fluid and intuitive mover off the ball. That's the first thing that really caught my eye is that Stanford system is really built around moving without the ball. We see that a lot we talked about that with Haley Jones and how she was able to hit cutters with passes. We've talked about that with other Stanford players, and Nneka Ogwumike is a really interesting fit into that motion offense that they run at Stanford, that Princeton style, where she is such a smart cutter and such a smart basketball player that she really understands what's going on. But it also feels like you're not getting everything that you could get out of her while playing in that system because she's such a good ISO scorer, as she proves later in her WNBA career. She's so good at just going and getting a bucket, but that's not something she was really asked to do at Stanford. So it's hard to this is something that me and Em talked about, is that it's hard to grade Nneka as high as we really want to, because you can see all of the skills there and everything that you really want to see from a prospect like that, but not at the volume that you really want to see it. She's an incredible scorer at Stanford. She puts up 22 and 10 her senior season, playing alongside another WNBA caliber first overall pick in her sister Chene. But she's just an intensely talented basketball player, an elegant mover, and she's just really good inside the arc on both ends. Just like one of the most solid basketball players. That's how I would describe her play at Stanford. Is just she doesn't make mistakes. She's just doing what's right. Her drives are deadly. Her cuts are really nice. And she's a really solid defender too.
Yeah, just really solid high floor prospect. And that's what makes it difficult projecting, like you said, to give her a high enough grade as we'd like to see based on the athletic tools, based on the scoring chops. Like she averaged 22 points in college without a 3-point shot. So there's a lot of things, even though it's 2012 too. There's a lot of things that you'd like with her. I like her post steals. I like her turnaround jumper. I like what she can do in the post, driving from the elbow. I like a lot of the stuff she can do. But at the same time, it makes it tough to look at her as this on par with some of the other prospects we talked about in the series when she doesn't have that shot for me. Like, I think the shot, as we know, it comes along, but I don't really see a lot of flashes that gives me promise from college.
I have some questions about the jumper outside of like 17 feet.
Right.
But from 17 feet and in, she's impeccable. She scores incredibly efficiently. The ISO scoring bag, like 2 times a game that she gets to show it off, is really deep. She's like hitting step back jumpers off the dribble in a big's face. She's taking these wildly contested pull up shots sometimes when there's like 5 seconds on the shot clock and they just need something. But she's clearly got all the tools, but doesn't have all of the opportunity to show it off in this I think it's frequently called like an egalitarian system that they play at Stanford. She has all of the tools you could want out of a forward in terms of scoring. She can drive left, she can drive right. She's an awesome rebounder and great boxing out. Incredible.
3.5 rebounds. Yeah.
That's really impressive. She does little things all the time. And that makes me really confident that she's never going to be a bad player in the WNBA. And there is, to me, at least watching Nneka in college, there's signs of that MVP ceiling. It's not really something that you catch right away, but there's flashes that she can be much more scalable and ball dominant than she is at Stanford.
And on the defensive end, did you have any notes from M? M couldn't make it this episode, but did you have any notes from her? Scout on the defensive end?
Yeah. Me and Em agreed that she's a really solid defender and a really, really good athlete. And her athleticism, she leverages her athleticism well in terms of defending at the rim and defending on the perimeter. She's pretty solid. Her closing speed is good, and she's good defending in isolation. There's some questions about like her she's a bit flat-footed at the point of attack, which can get her into trouble against really good face-up players, but that's not going to be something that happens a lot. And another thing that Em pointed out that is a really good point is that she's demonstrably a plus defensive communicator, which is really rare to see out of a college player and something that is going to add value to whatever professional team she ends up on.
Right. I think just really solid defensive prospect. Looking at the numbers, 2.5% steal rate, 3.3% block rate. And like you said, pairing that with a low turnover rate, she was just a really high field player. She knew where to be. She knew how to assess the defense. She knew how to kind of capitalize on certain mistakes. I liked her post defense. I thought, like you said, the athleticism aspect of things really gave her a boost. Even though she's 6'2", or 6'2", 6'3", she plays bigger than her size with her length and just her coordination in general.
Yeah. The rebounding is right. I'd say that she rebounds much better than you would think, just kind of
for sure.
Going off of her frame and her size. She's grabbing tough rebounds over bigger players all the time. And she has some ability to even take bigger bigs off the bounce that can't keep up with her. She just plays a really elegant basketball. It's so much fun to watch too. I feel like I say that about everyone that we watch, but these are the best players in the history of women's basketball. It's going to be fun to watch.
Oh, for sure. So after the break, we'll get into our scouting grade on Nneka and later discuss how her pro career unfolded. But first, let's talk about DoorDash. With DoorDash grocery delivery, you can stock up for the week or order last-minute cravings conveniently. With thousands of grocery stores to choose from, you'll find the best in your neighborhood and boost your local economy with each order. You'll get exactly what you ordered, or we'll make it right. So sit back and enjoy quality groceries just like you picked them yourself. Want even more value? You can save on all your groceries and restaurant favorites with a 0% delivery fee on all eligible orders with a DoorDash membership. With easy substitutions right in the app, best-in-class customer support, DoorDash delivers groceries exactly how you want them. Get 50% off DoorDash orders up to $20 value when you use code LOCKEDONNBA checkout. Limited time offer, terms apply. That's 50% off, up to $20, no minimum subtotal, 0 delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter promo code LOCKEDONNBA. Don't forget, that's promo code LOCKEDONNBA for 50% off your order with DoorDash went up to $20. Welcome back. I'm your host, Hunter Cruse, and thanks for joining us. Let's get back into our scouting grade on Nneka, solely based on the film we watched from her pre-WNBA film, taking into account the current state of the league at the time, rather than current WNBA team building and schematic philosophies. But first, for those unfamiliar, we use a 20-80 baseball-like scouting scale. 40 is an average WNBA contributor, a 45 is a top-end backup, 50 is your average starter, 55 is an above-average starter, 60 is an all-star caliber player, 70 is an all-WNBA caliber player, and then 80 is reserved for your MVP candidates. So I came into this episode pretty open on my grade on Nneka. I wanted to see kind of what you guys thought as well, because I thought, like you guys said earlier, it's hard to give her a certain level of a grade just because of the offensive system and kind of just projecting how good this player can be at the next level, compared to some other players in the series where it was like kind of obvious. Like no doubt number one picks, no doubt superstar players in this league. So with Nneka, where are you at on M? Where are you and M at on her scouting grade?
Yeah. In talking about this, we had a pretty similar read and a pretty similar evaluation of Nneka as a pro prospect. That the athleticism mixed with the elite finishing, she's always been one of the best play finishers in the world. And M's a little bit more of a believer in the jump shot than we are, which I think is what pushed M to giving Nneka a soft 70 grade, which is like putting Nneka at the idea of a perennial all-W player, which is what she is now. I came away very close to that as a strong, like a really strong 60, like a 60 plus, where like all-star absolutely, and has that ceiling of breaking through. Like her top percentile outcomes are perennial MVP candidate, and that like but her lowest outcomes are still a useful WNBA player. So it's kind of like she doesn't have the same ceiling that some of the players we evaluated earlier in this series, but she has a much higher floor than almost everyone except for Candace Parker.
Maybe Maya Moore.
And Maya, yeah. There's just no way to me that the Nneka that we watch at Stanford is not at least an all-star. Every single outcome for her, she's just incredibly solid. And like going through the 2012 draft retrospective stuff, it's very similar to the 2023 draft, with Nneka and Aaliyah Boston being the clear-cut number one pick, who is like a tier ahead of everyone else. And then there's kind of a crapshoot behind that. But those comparisons in terms of like Nneka and Aaliyah are similar tier prospects to me, where you have this player who's just incredibly solid and doesn't make mistakes. They might not have the same ceiling as like your perennial MVP, but there's just no way that they're not a good to great WNBA player.
Right. I feel similar to you, a solid 60 plus area. Like you said, her floor is basically an all-star caliber player, a fringe all-star caliber player from what I saw. The ceiling, like M kind of believes in the jumper, then I could get closer to a 70. But I think it's sort of the same conversation we have with someone like Angel Reese, for example, where I want to see shooting. I want to see it before I just project that onto someone's game. And that's what in the draft conversation why I'm higher on Rickea Jackson, because these forwards, athletic forwards, play finishers, I believe in the one that's going to take shots more and like having higher upside. But like we see with Nneka, she does hit that ceiling. So how do you think Nneka's prospects compares to like the players we're seeing now in like Rickea, Angel, those type of skill sets?
Nneka is kind of like if you took the best aspects of both Angel Reese and Rickea Jackson and pushed them all together. She's got the mid-range acumen, the drives, and the scoring punch that Rickea brings, as well as like the I think Angel's a bit of a better athlete and a better
Yeah,
defensive
just more fluid.
prospect than Rikia. Right. And Nneka's kind of just like the perfect amalgamation of those two, I guess. In You take all the great defense and rebounding, and you add the drives and the mid-range ISO bag, and like there's flashes where we don't really get to see it in her time at Stanford, but I was just thinking about running 40 pick and rolls a game with Nneka and a guard who can shoot and just
Right.
having her just dominate on as a roller, and that kind of translation of her game into modernity has gone favorably for Nneka. She's a like perfectly solid big who is really good at everything.
Like for Los Angeles in that draft, it was a pretty easy scout for them. It was take Nneka, number
Yeah,
one,
yeah.
and we'll
That
discuss
was
how
it
that
was
worked very
just
soon.
way above everyone else in that class. She's the best player in that class by a significant margin. Um, yeah, it's not particularly close, and that's how it was viewed at the time in terms of projecting that draft was there's Nneka and then there's everyone else below that, and nobody really knew exactly how it was going to go down after Nneka at the first pick.
And we'll discuss how Nneka's career transpired in Los Angeles, her solid rookie season, and more. Before we get into Nneka's WNBA career, Lincoln, do you have any player comparisons on her game? I know we talked about Angel Rakia, kind of like a blend. But do you have any others you'd like to mention here?
Not really. I couldn't think of any. The only one that M had for Nneka was if Shakira Austin was more of a four and had a better track record against the top college competition. The only thing that I have written down for a comp is a ballroom dancer because she's so elegant and fluid and smooth. She's so fluid as an athlete. Her change of direction is incredible. The way she just kind of bounces past people on drives is really impressive. I saw her take Brittany Griner off the bounce from the 3-point line and take one dribble and get a layup out of it. She's taking off from 7 feet away from the hoop and still getting a layup. It's so fluid. It's so elegant, and I could only think of like a ballroom dancer.
And I do have a stat from Nneka's rookie season from M. So 7 players in WNBA history have averaged 14 points, a sub 10% turnover rate, and a 20% usage rate in the rookie season. 7 players. And only 10 players have done that in NBA history. So 17-player core there. And then also, like M said, 14 points, 7.5 rebounds, 1.2 assists, 1.5 steals, blocks, and 1 block. 58% true shooting. Runaway Rookie of the Year winner. Gloria Johnson also earned some votes. But just like you said, the projectability of her game, you see immediate impact. And like you talked about with Aaliyah, we're talking about like that's actually a very good like segue into how these players, just betting on high floor players. I think that's something that
Mm-hmm.
you want to go for ceiling, but I think at the WNBA level, the number one pick is usually always surefire compared to the NBA or other sports. I feel like the WNBA, there's always the one prospect, especially considering you have like 4 years leading up to the draft. It's always clear this is the number one
Mm-hmm.
pick. So to be able to blend a lot of these prospects, having the high floor, having high ceilings. So for Nneka, like Em said, there's probably only 4 instant two-way superstars better than Nneka in like Catch, Candace, Maya, Stewie. Besides that, Nneka made an immediate impact on this league.
And there's an argument that that's the 4 best players in WNBA
Right.
history. And so that's really solid company to be in. Nneka's just been really good for her whole career. She played her first couple seasons alongside Candace,
Mhm.
which just a devastating front court combo to go against. She won a Rookie of the Year. She won MVP. She won a championship in Los Angeles. And she's 32 now, and there's no real signs of slowing down. She's aged into her game perfectly. She continues to just be monstrously efficient from the field. And this is a conversation that we've had before, is that Nneka Ogwumike to me is like one of the 5 best play finishers in the history of the sport. Like, if you give Nneka the ball at the end of a set, it's going in the hoop. She's a really, really solid shooter. She draws fouls, she gets to the free throw line, and she doesn't miss free throws. And she's a really solid rebounder. She's improved as a passer as a pro, and she's still a really solid defender too. Like, she's just a complete five-tool player who doesn't really have shortcomings.
And like you said on the defense, she had a 2.5% steal rate, 2.2% block rate over her first 5 seasons. Just an incredible defensive stalwart on both ends of the floor, being able to kind of just be that event creation ability she has, alongside Candace too. Like that duo is pretty unfair, and we saw that with their success in the playoffs. So thanks for making Locked On Women's Basketball your first listen every day. Join the team at the next week for continued coverage of the WNBA and women's basketball as a whole. To recap, our consensus grade on Nneka was a hard, solid 60 grade, pushing 60 plus. Next week, you can join us back on Saturday for a historical scouting report on a trio of prospects from the 2013 draft: Brittany Griner, Elena Deladon, and Skyward Diggins Smith. Have a great rest of your weekend, everyone.